Everyone, I'm Stephen Kanarik, and I'll be presenting this Sunday's Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing for March 10th, 2024. We're looking at two main hazards in our basin this week. The first of which is a gale warning in effect for the Caribbean. That's going to be in effect Monday night, tomorrow night, as well as Tuesday night. For within 90 nautical miles of the Colombian coast, east-northeasterly trade winds will be pulsing up to 35 knots each late night and early morning. Next, we have some large northerly swell coming down south of 31 North into our area. This northerly swell is going to be leading to seas of up to 20 feet as we get into Monday night and Tuesday. That seas of over 12 feet will be lasting through midweek. Main areas of concern are areas north of 20 north and east of 70 west. Good news for the Gulf of Mexico, looks like pretty quiet weather through the week. All right, let's take a look at our current conditions. We have a cold front that you can see that I've just kind of highlighted the general area. It's moving off the east coast of the United States, crossing the Florida Peninsula, and has just about cleared the Gulf of Mexico. We've got some fresh to locally strong north winds in the Gulf of Mexico. That's about as significant of winds as we'll be seeing through the week for the Gulf of Mexico. The main thing to note with this cold front is with these stronger winds to the north of the area, that's going to be generating some significant swell that's going to be pushing south. The first round of swell is already impacting some of our northernmost waters. That's associated with an additional storm that's to the north of the area. So as we go into Monday, I'll start off with the seas. We'll have this first area of swell in our northeastern waters, and then that second area of swell, even more significant than the first, beginning to build south down the east coast of the United States into our area. That's all associated with northwest winds behind the cold front. You can see here gale conditions north of our area with some strong winds building into our area. See the front continuing to make southeastward progress. And then if you'll note here, we've got a developing gale label for the winds off of Colombia. As the pressure gradient here increases, by later in the day on Monday and Monday night, we'll see some gale conditions developing in this area. Heading into Tuesday, our main cold front continues to make progress to the south and east. You can still see north of our area some gale winds in the purple shading, and that's going to be producing significant northerly swell that's going to be spilling south into our area. A large chunk of the Atlantic will be seeing seas of 15 to 20 feet. And the Caribbean gale may be pulsing down during the day Tuesday, but increasing again by Tuesday night with winds up to 35 knots overnight, Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Right, as we push ahead into Wednesday, the front continues moving east through our waters with, you'll see the area shaded in purple to our north, still gale force winds. So those gale force winds continuing to generate northerly swell that's going to be spilling south across our northern and eastern waters. So a very large area of 12, 15, even upwards of 20 foot of seas expected on Wednesday. The pressure gradient will begin to weaken just a bit offshore Colombia, and so the gale should end a little after sunrise Wednesday. For the Caribbean, still though some trade winds of 20 to 30 knots off the coast of Colombia throughout the day Wednesday into Wednesday night. Later in the week, the cold front kind of begins to dissipate. It's going to be located right around here and pushing off east of our area. The swell beginning to diminish a little, but still hazardous seas for a large chunk of our northeastern waters. Continued below gale force winds, but strong winds 25 to 30 knots off the coast of Colombia. And as I mentioned earlier in the briefing, fairly quiet conditions throughout the week across the Gulf of Mexico. We'll be seeing some southeasterly return flow by Thursday, moderate to fresh magnitudes. And my last forecast slide for Friday, March 15th, the significant swell that's been plaguing the Atlantic waters most of the week will really be pushing off to the east and beginning to subside. The area that I highlighted are where seas will be 12 feet or higher, so 10, 15-foot seas still possible, but pushing well off to the east by the end of the week. Seas will also be a little high off the coast of Colombia. Throughout the week, they're going to be 10 to 12 feet with that trade wind when it's not pulsing up to gale, still 25 to 30 knots. So to summarize, two main areas that we're going to be monitoring through the week. The gale warning offshore Colombia, the gale warning is in effect for Monday night and again on Tuesday night. The conditions thereafter should be just below gale force winds, but still strong winds through the week offshore Colombia. And then the large swell with seas of up to 20 feet for Atlantic waters north of 20 north. This is going to be spreading east early in the week from about 70 west through midweek and then gradually subsiding for the latter portions of the week. And again, quiet conditions across the Gulf of Mexico. Thanks for listening to today's TAFB Marine Weather Briefing. Our next briefing is going to be sent out to you on Thursday, March 14th by 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.